Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. 1923's Harrison Ford reveals if he would return to Yellowstone universe after Season 2 finale. 1923 star Harrison Ford has revealed if he would return to the Yellowstone universe as Jacob Dutton after the Season 2 finale of its latest TV show. 1923 Season 2 ended with Jacob Ford deciding to retire, helping his wife, Kara, Helen Mirren, in raising their grandson, John Dutton Hugh. While the show later flashes forward to 1969, showing an elderly Spencer, Brandon Sklinner, dying after visiting his wife Alexandra's, Julia Schlapfer, grave, it leaves a multi-decade time gap in between that has yet to be filled by the franchise. Speaking with The Hollywood Reporter at a FYC event in Los Angeles, California, Ford revealed that he would be open to reprising his role as Jacob from 1923 in future Yellowstone projects. This includes the potential upcoming spin-off 1944, which he joked, "I'm still alive for." He said that if series creator Taylor Sheridan asks nice, he'd be open to coming back, but also said, "I have no idea what his plans are." However, as of writing, there is no official word yet on the status of 1944, nor if Ford will be involved in future series. Ford's interest in coming back as Jacob signals a real possibility that he could return to the franchise. As of writing, there's technically been no official word from Paramount that Season 2 of his Yellowstone spin-off ended the show, meaning 1923 Season 3 is somewhat possible. However, the time jump with Spencer at Alexandra's grave offered a definitive ending to the story, meaning it wouldn't make sense for the show to go back to when he was younger. This makes it less likely for Jacob to return given his age in the series already. If 1944 were to include Jacob's return, he would be much older, perhaps one of the longest living members of the Dutton family. But with Ford expressing interest in the possibility of returning, it could also be a way to give his character a send-off as an important figure in their whole history. This would be especially important if the planned prequel really does focus on John, since he's anticipated to become the father of John Dutton i.e. Kevin Costner from the original Yellowstone. Jacob was the central patriarch of the Dutton family in 1923, making it important for the focus to be on him and his time running the ranch. However, even if he did come back in 1944, his age coupled with having decided to retire 21 years earlier means he'd probably only appear for a smaller role in the series. Even so, Ford's talent and the gripping performance he provided means it would be interesting to see him return for the role again, even if he only showed up very briefly. As of writing, the next Yellowstone spin-off set to air is The Madison, debuting on Paramount Network later in 2025. Telling interview following the explosive finale of 1923 Season 2, Hollywood icon Harrison Ford sat down in his Montana ranch-turned-retreat to reflect on his time as Jacob Dutton, the steely patriarch of the Yellowstone origin story. Though better known for cracking whips and piloting starships, Ford's turn in Taylor Sheridan's frontier drama captured a grittier, grounded version of the screen legend, and fans are eager to know, will he return? Wearing a denim jacket that looked like it had lived several lives and sipping coffee from an enamel mug, Ford was both pensive and wry. "Jacob's got a lot of dust on him," he said with a gravelly chuckle. "So do I, but I've always believed some stories are worth revisiting if they've still got something left to say." That ambiguity is classic Ford, direct yet withholding, like an old gunslinger refusing to show his full hand. The Season 2 finale left fans shaken and stirred. The Duttons faced betrayal, loss, and the relentless hand of fate, and Jacob Dutton was no exception. After suffering a grave injury in a standoff that mirrored the violence of Season 1's ambush, Jacob's future was left uncertain. The final scene, Jacob clutching a blood-soaked letter from his nephew Spencer, staring out at the snow-covered plains, was as ambiguous as it was poetic. Fade to black. So, does this mean we've seen the last of Jacob Dutton? That's a question for Taylor, Ford said, referencing the showrunner and creator Taylor Sheridan. He's the one holding the reins. I'm just a hired cowboy. But Sheridan and Ford have developed a close creative rapport, according to sources close to the production. Harrison wasn't just acting, said one crew member. He was Jacob, and he brought a level of intensity to the role that inspired everyone on set. But he also didn't want to be coddled. He came to work, didn't ask for special treatment, and always asked, "What's the truth of this scene?" Ford's portrayal of Jacob Dutton was praised for its layered subtlety, the stubbornness of a man determined to hold his family and land together, the sorrow of surviving more than he should, and the quiet vulnerability tucked beneath his weathered strength. Critics and fans alike marveled at how Ford, at 81, delivered one of the most compelling performances of his later career. So what does Ford think of Jacob's fate? "I don't see Jacob as a man who seeks immortality," he mused, "but I do think he wants meaning. Everything he's done, every hard decision, every sacrifice, has been about preserving something bigger than himself. His land, his name, his people. That kind of legacy is central to the Yellowstone universe. Created by Sheridan, the saga has sprawled across timelines, with Yellowstone, 1883, and 1923 weaving a multigenerational narrative of the Dutton family's resilience and moral complexity. Sheridan is famously tight-lipped about plot details, but he's hinted in recent interviews that the 1923 arc might not be over. "I think there's more to explore," Ford admitted, "but I also think a good story knows when to stop talking." One of the more surprising elements of Ford's interview was his candidness about the physical toll of playing Jacob. "There were days I got off the horse and felt like I'd aged 10 years, but it also reminded me of why I love this work. Acting isn't about comfort, it's about truth, and the truth is, Jacob's pain isn't so different from mine. We've both carried weight." He paused, rubbing his calloused hands together. "You get to a point in life where you ask, not what's next, but what matters. That's what drew me to this role. It's not about shootouts or cattle. It's about what we're willing to lose for the ones we love." But fans wondering if Ford is hanging up his spurs for good may take heart in what he said next. "If the story is right, if there's something real to uncover, I'd consider writing again. I don't think Jacob's finished speaking yet." The statement has already sent Yellowstone forums and social media into overdrive. Has Sheridan written Season 3? Could Jacob return in flashbacks? Or has he survived the finale's cliffhanger? Is there another spin-off on the horizon? Perhaps 1932? Sheridan, as usual, remains mum, though an unnamed Paramount executive reportedly confirmed that conversations are ongoing about continuing 1923 in some form, with or without Ford. There's even chatter about a prequel within a prequel, exploring Jacob and Kara's early days building the Yellowstone Ranch, with a younger actor portraying Jacob and Ford returning to narrate. When asked about that possibility, Ford gave one of his signature shrugs. "I'm not a ghost yet," he grinned, "but if I do come back, it won't be just for nostalgia. It'll be because there's a heartbeat under the hat." Fans might interpret that however they like, but one thing is clear: Ford hasn't completely shut the gate on the Yellowstone universe.